Hello again. I just couldn't wait till tomorrow because I've now found a couple of articles about the Newcastle United tax abuse system, like tax scandal and abuse of the system. There were it says here that there are extensive tax evasion and player transfers, court papers, and they in the court papers they've shown that. The club failed an illegal challenge against HM Revenue and Customs, issuing search warrants back in April, May of this year. So I did some videos on this couple back in April and May of this year, early on in the channel's history. So if you want to look at them, please do. There was £5 million tax investigation involving Premier League and French clubs. Paper show Hmrc suspect Newcastle and if I read this correctly, that the sports direct tycoon Mike Ashley is involved in an elaborate scheme to evade income tax, VAT, and national insurance. And they relate to the club's partner transfers of Jemba Bar, Musa Sissoko, Papi Cisse, Sylvain Marvero, who was a crap player by the way, and David Santon, another crap player. HM Revenue and Customs said Newcastle systematically abused the tax system with sham contracts and that it disguised the true recipients of agents' fees. They seized documents, the investigators seized documents, computers and mobile phones during the April raids, which I mentioned in a previous video. Lee Chonley, the managing director, was arrested and released without charge. I think he was sacked later on. They cited the transfer to West Ham. Now, this is where West Ham get involved about Jimmy Bar. They raided the West Ham stadium. There was a 1.9 million fee paid by Newcastle to Simon Stainrod. He's an agent who was acting on behalf of the player back in 2011. There's loads of companies here that just have crazy names that they're based abroad. It has something to do with an arrangement where there was secretly transferred via a law firm, there was money transferred secretly, stuff like that. Apparently, Newcastle had full knowledge of the arrangements, that they were illegal. They invaded the club and Jemba Bar evaded income tax and national insurance because the fees were not treated as taxable benefits enjoyed by the player. HM Revenue Customs missed out on 1.2 million. The club's agents passed on the. This is a quote from one of the investigators saying that the contractual arrangements are a sham and do not reflect what actually happened. The club's agents passed on the vast majority of their fees to other agents acting for the players or associates of the players. The HM Revenue and Customs claim that Newcastle benefited from the arrangement because it reclaimed the VAT on the fees, so it's actually made money when it should have spent money. Apparently it was common practice amongst with most of Newcastle United's transfers, and there was also questions raised by Gemma Bargate when he went to Chelsea in 2013. They also make allegations referring to a period between 2010 and 2013. And there was a tax inquiry back in 2012, but we don't hear about this. We didn't hear about this until now. Well, why has this not been made fully public? But there you go. So there's a fair bit going on this. Where Newcastle, I think, were relegated during this period of time as well, and then promoted again, and then relegated again. So there's something. So there's still an ongoing investigation into tax fraud, but it's now got a court. Previous statements at the time of the raids, which involved 180 officers in the UK and France, this criminal investigation sent a clear message that if you commit tax fraud, you can expect to face the consequences. Newcastle challenged the legality several times. Blah 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 blah, and that's it really. That article in the Guardian was in yesterday. I basically paraphrased some of it. It's loads of legal mumbo jumbo, but basically, 7 years ago till in 2010 till 4 or 5 years ago in 2013, basically Newcastle were regularly breaking tax law and financial law and basically avoiding tax. I apologise for reading, but I've been bugged by this since April when it all came out. I've made several videos on the subject. I wasn't aware that Gemma Barr's transfers, 3 transfers from West Ham, Newcastle to Chelsea, were all suspect, but apparently they are. One of the players mentioned that the Hmrc, whatever his name is, has actually been arrested in France. Heard nothing else about the French side of the investigation, but because Gemma Barr played in France, I think what Newcastle were doing was actually linked to what the French clubs were doing before. So this goes back well before 2010. It's obviously Newcastle have been abusing the tax system and the transfer market system for years, and they haven't really signed that many good players in that time. Surprisingly, they just seem to actually make money on the transfers when they should be paying fees to people, not receiving money back. But they made it as a tax deduction or something. Because basically, they're not paying their full amount of tax, and they're actually making money when they should be paying money. If you know what I mean, they're defrauding the taxman and also somehow making money when they shouldn't. Makes no sense to me, but they've got an elaborate scheme. There's several foreign. If you read the article, it's actually in the Guardian of yesterday, so it's online. I would say post a link, but it's online. It's out there. Newcastle constantly challenged the warrants put forward by Hmrc and Customs to search St James's Park, their training ground, West Ham's stadium, City of London Stadium. They were raised in France as well at several French clubs. So it's not just Newcastle, it's bigger than that. But obviously, the way Newcastle dealt with their tax and bits and pieces. It was on the BBC News website this morning. It's not there now on the main page, on the sports bit. It's got buried under all the breaking news, like the Ben Stokes story and all the Euro qualifiers that are taking place over this weekend. Not Euro, the European qualification for the World Cup. So the Euro national teams qualifying for the World Cup, that's taken over a lot of it, but it got buried somehow, which is a bit annoying because I've been following this story and chasing up, and there was a few other articles on the search page when I typed in from June, so 2 months after the initial raids. It's taken this long for another. You got to find it though. Right, the dates are, if you type in Newcastle United tax, Newcastle United investigated over systematic abuse of tax system. That's the Guardian. And the BBC News website, also from they're both from the AMP news agency. Through that, Newcastle United abuse tax system. There's another one on the. Much to do with. Yep, there's a few. Newcastle United facing allegations the club systematic abuse the tax system secretly paid. But that's the local newspaper, local news website in Newcastle. It's lost the High Court challenge that it put in as well. Yeah, it's this. But then before that, the last news on this was the 27th of July. And this is their excuse. This is from the 27th of July. No reason for Newcastle United tax raid, the court hears. So, tax officials had no reasonable grounds for believing Newcastle United were engaged in a fraud, a court heard. This is when the club was challenging a search and seizure order by Hmrc and Customs. Basically, it's to do with a national insurance fraud investigation. That's what they say on the BBC News website back in the summer. The club lawyer said the warrants were excessively wide and there were other methods for obtaining information. It does state that in April, St James's Park, along with West Ham, were raided by Hmrc into football agents and payments made in transfer deals between English and French clubs. So obviously the French connection, hint, is there. There's over blah 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 blah. Then before that, they mounted their legal challenge, and then back in April, end of April, the raids and the legal process began in this country. So yeah, it's been going on since April 26th. But there's been basically a news blackout on the case for the majority of its ongoing procedures. There's obviously a very complex part of law. It's not like the Ben Stokes incident. He's on camera punching someone, be it self-defence or if he's the aggressor. That's quite a simple investigation, as it's one person with Alex Hales, a witness, and then the victim or the aggressor, because Stokes was clearly defending himself, but complicated. That's quite simple. This involves large sums of money, complicated like shell companies from like the other article I read. So all you got to do is write in Newcastle United tax. Don't write in tax scandal because you won't find all the stories. Write in Newcastle United tax, and it comes up with a list in date order of articles. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I'm going to stop that there because I've rambled a bit, but it's quite complicated as you can see. I've been quite bugged by this because it's been out of the news for so long. Now it's back in. It's taken 3-4 months to get back in the news. It was 2 months before that, so it's been going on for most of the summer since April. So now it's October. That's from the UK started the investigation till now. If you look at my previous videos in there, I'm a little bit less subtle than I am now about the whole thing. But there you go. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please post comments below, and I shall have some more videos for you in the coming days.